I have the privilege to introduce the speakers of today, of the BIM SPEED consortium. And before doing so, I would like to have one thing that I would like to add. The project is almost coming to an end, 4-year during project. BIM SPEED, it is about speeding up BIM facilities. Well, that is really oversimplified, I would say, but it's always good to tease you a bit and to get your attention, because the coming 1.5 hours, it will be really explained way better by all my project colleagues than I just did. Today is the last industry day as well, so we did see that there are people attending who used to be also present in the former industry day, so that's good to know. And well, one of the highlights, in my opinion, is of course not only talking about content, but also giving the prize, because there has been a real competition as well in this project. But before going to that point of the agenda, I will give the floor after this to Timo Hartman. He's Professor at TU Berlin and the coordinator of BIM SPEED, and he will give you just a highlight overview of all the project results of BIM SPEED. Then, as mentioned, we will move on to the honoring of the BIM SPEED competition. That will be done by Jasper from Riva. And followed by, well, you could call it the core of the project, the BIM SPEED platform. That will be presented by Nicola Pastorelli from CSTB. That's the only one who did not have to travel, I think, or just a little, because he's from this area. Then followed by some of the innovative BIM tools for the building reservation. We have many more, but we have selected 2 of the best for them, and they will present it to you by Serena, I think, remotely from Italy. And then Sonia, who I did not, she did arrive. Good morning, Sonia. Buenos dias. That's another one I know. And then number 6, as you can see on the sheet, it's the BIM SPEED Building Smart International Use Cases for Building Renovation, presented by Sharon and Jessica, both from Hoogtief. I just found out this morning that you're both from Hoogtief. Congratulations with the new job. And then almost ending the queue, that is the ontologies to support building renovations, because you can build a platform, you can build all kinds of tools, but they need to communicate, they need to be interoperable, and therefore you need ontologies, obviously. And then last but not least, there will be a presentation of the demonstration cases that have been executed in this project, and that will be done by Agnieszka from Facade. We are a bit late already, but I think it has been worth to wait for a bit of delay. On the other end, I would like to ask the following speakers to keep time a bit, because otherwise I have to warn you, and it would be a real pity if we cannot conclude this session with the demonstration cases. So, Timo, may I invite you?
So.
Do you have a slide?
No,
you don't.
I don't have slides. Thanks, Andre. It's always dangerous, right, to have the professor speak first when you're already late. But I don't know. Let's see. But thanks for the introduction, and it's really nice to sit here as the coordinator of the BIM SPEED project at almost the end. So I guess we have less than 2 months to go, and then the project is finalized, and we had really nice 4 years together, I think, in the consortium, but also with the people that are here watching, with our user group and community of practice and so forth. So thanks for joining. Yeah, I was asked to give an overview of the project in the session, and I'm happy to do this. And I thought, how do I do this? Do I prepare some slides and show some technical details, but that doesn't help because the program we have will show you all the technical details later, right? So we're going to have great speakers really presenting the major innovations that we were able to come up with in the last 4 years. So what I was thinking, and I started reflecting a little bit, is also looking a little bit at the history. So I guess it was more than 5 years ago when Rizal Sebastian, who's no longer on the project, but he contacted me and said, hey, there's this great call out there, BIM for renovation. And this is really something we've been working on together before that since quite some time, looking at, how you can use BIM, how you can make it available for renovation projects and so forth. And we said, this is actually the call for us because we had quite a different vision about how BIM should look like to really support renovation projects. Because from all our previous work in the area of renovation, we knew basically two things. The first thing was that renovation is really, really difficult because you have to deal with a building that is already there. And each of the buildings you're dealing with is significantly different, right? Even if the buildings were built as the same type of buildings after 30, 40, 50, 60 years, they changed, right? And so one building is not like the other. And then, we are looking at the European context. And of course, in Europe, we need to, scale up the renovation rate. At the moment, we are having, I guess, a renovation rate of 2 to 3% per year, right? And we want to reduce energy use and CO2 use of these buildings significantly. So they are responsible for 40%. We all know these numbers, right? And then if you do the math, if we renovate 2% of the buildings per year, it's going to take us 50 years to renovate them all, right? We don't have that time, right? And so every building is different. Even more and worse, every building has a different group of stakeholders that need to be involved in this renovation project. Right? It's not only that the building is different, but on every project, you're dealing with different people. And that's significantly other setting than you have when you build new things. Right? And then we were reflecting when we were writing this proposal, so what does that mean for BIM? Right? And when we look at BIM for new buildings and how it's used still today by large, it's a lot about standardization. Right? We use a standard tool, unfortunately, mainly Revit, to create those models. We export them to a standard, mainly IFC, and this is all great and it all works, right? We are working on European-wide standards to prescribe the process of how to do all of this, right? And then we were actually challenging and questioning whether you can throw, all of these standards on a renovation project where you have non-standard buildings, where you have non-standard set of stakeholders that you need to align. And so that's where we said, we're going to write a different proposal. We're not going to write a proposal about, creating a new BIM standard, a structured way of renovating a project, right? A new exchange standard of, the information you need to have for your building, right, to renovate it. And every building in Europe should have that information. No, we said we need to have a different approach. And this approach needs to be, we need to create an ecosystem. Or yet said, we need to create like vehicles that allow the stakeholders on each different renovation project to establish an ecosystem that fits the needs for their projects. In terms of information they need about the building and need to exchange. In terms of tools that they're going to use to make use of this information, right? But also in terms of how they communicate and how they structure all this exchange of information. Right? For me, that's still, like 5 years later, the main philosophy of this BIM SPEED project. Right? And we took this philosophy and then we started, thinking about how can you create such an ecosystem. And the key, and we know that from other industries, if you want to create an open ecosystem, you need to have a platform. So the core of the project was really, we wanted to work on a relatively open, very flexible platform, which we call now the BIM SPEED platform, obviously, because it's the name, right? Maybe if we move the platform to the market at some time, and we do actually, and Nicola is going to talk about it, it's going to have a different name, but for now we refer to it as a BIM SPEED platform, at least for 1.5 more months. And but the platform should allow people to just, get access to any type of information in any type of format that's available for the building. The platform should also allow to integrate any type of tool, right? So we know that from other ecosystem platforms. Look at the Android system on your phone or something, right? So you have apps, and any developer can just provide an app and put them on the platform, and then people can use them, right? And so that was kind of our vision also for the platform. So any technology provider that has a BIM tool to support renovation projects should be able to just integrate that tool into the platform and then make use of information that's available on that platform, right? And so that was the second goal of this project then in the end. And we're going to have presentation about this later too, right? So you're going to have an open platform to create ecosystems, or that allows the stakeholders on any renovation project to really create their specific ecosystem for their specific project, right? But we also want to have a broad range of tools, and we already have a good amount of tools, but the tools we developed on this project are more like illustrating how you can use a platform around tools, right? But the vision is, of course, at a certain time of day, we have an app store for renovation projects around the platform with 500 tools, 1,000 tools, right? That stakeholders can look, localized tools, right? The tool for renovation in southern France, and tool for Scandinavia or something, they can all tie into this platform, right? And so basically we developed a set of tools mainly to demonstrate, and we're going to show some of this as well, right? And then other achievements that we reached in this project, and we're going to have the competition later. We wanted to demonstrate how you can use this platform widely across projects in Europe. So we have a good amount of demonstration projects in the project. Agnieszka's going to talk about this a little bit later, right? And but we also had the BIM SPEED competition, where we invited people basically show us how you can use such a platform to support your project. We're going to announce the winner of the competition right after I'm done. All right. And so that's, I would say, a third achievement or big achievement of the project is this large demonstration, right? Demonstrating how we can actually use BIM on projects in an open ecosystem manner, right? How you can specifically support different projects across Europe. And I think we did quite a good job demonstrating that as well. Other things that, I think are important to mention is, and we're going to have a presentation about this as well, is this notion of use cases, right? If you think of an open ecosystem, if you think of a large variety of stakeholders that all want to do different things, and that's something we actually realized early on in the project, or Yannick basically realized it, is that, hey, we need to think about use cases. There are about 10,000 things that people can do with BIM on renovation projects, right? And we won't be able to map them all, but we need to start, mapping, some of them at least, right? And I guess we have this, a figure that I always like to show is we have a big tree of all different use cases that you can use for renovation. And then we also said, okay, we can make a start on this project to work out some in detail, right? So my favorite use case, or the most favorite use case on these discussions, is always how to use BIM to create energy models, to do building performance simulations, right? So that is just an example of a use case, but how many do we have? About 20 by now, right? So we have 20 worked out use cases. They're all standardized together with Building Smart International, and you can look at them, and we're going to present them as well. And again, this is just a start, because we know that ecosystems somewhere in Europe will come up with other use cases, but they can formalize the use cases like this, right? And hopefully they can also look at this growing database of use cases that we hopefully started on this project to get ideas, right, of what could be support for their specific project. Right? And the final thing, when I look back, that I would like to mention is, and Jersen's going to present this, and Mariam's going to presenting this later, are ontologies. So I think on this project, we proposed a number of very important ontologies. And again, we took a different approach to, what people usually do when they think about ontologies in this field, is we went back to the original notion of ontology. Right, so there's this famous guy, Sova, for example, who wrote a lot about it. But an ontology is basically a tool to formalize domain knowledge of experts. And so our goal was we really created ontologies, and I mean, they are published and you can look at them and we present them later, not to, again, create another standard, another RDF thing where, you need to put them online and this is how you need to use them, how to exchange data. It's not so much meant as a vehicle to really exchange data, something that so many other projects do, but really a vehicle to formalize knowledge that people need on these renovation projects. Knowledge they need to plan renovation activities, exchange products, exchange a window. What do they need to know, right? Knowledge that they need to do a life cycle analysis of the building, right? And so these more meant as a vehicle, and I think it could be an important vehicle for renovation projects that, they can look at the ontologies and say, hey, these are the things I need to know about my building to do this. And then they can go out and use, for example, some of the tools we developed or some other existing tools on the market to capture that information of the existing building. Right? And so that's my short review. I don't know. I'm good in time, I guess, or I saved you some. But, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to all the presentations that show the detail of the project. And now we come to the most important part.
Thank you very much, Timo.
Yeah, the competition.
You want a new presentation?
Yeah. Yeah, that one. All right. I'll get rid of this. Thank you for the word, Timo. Yeah, I'm very happy that we came to this point. This is a part of this final event, of course, is the award ceremony for the BIM SPEED competition, for the EU BIM for Building Renovation competition. And what I will present to you is first I will give a short overview of the competition itself, what its aims were, what the time period was, and a bit more about the jury. And then, of course, the key part of this whole my presentation is the announcement of the winners, who have put a lot of effort into it, into testing the BIM SPEED tools, and they will have their own presentation, which I'll be sharing as well. So you will see them and hear them speak, and then of course we'll conclude and go on to the next presentation. So what was the aim of the BIM SPEEDs of the EU BIM for Building Renovation competition? It aimed to engage both students and professionals that are active in the design and construction industry to present a residential building renovation project that applies the BIM SPEED tools and methods developed by the partners in the project. Right. So as Timo just said, through the platform, everyone has the opportunity to work in an ecosystem with the tools that are also available. And what we wanted to do through the competition is give people from outside of the project the chance to work within that ecosystem, to try out the tools, and to try to get and demonstrate their results through that. And so, yeah, as it says also on the slide, it was to demonstrate a renovation project. The indicators that we were looking at, were energy savings for occupants, how it improves their comfort while reducing the time and cost in the overall process. The competition itself ran for almost a year. From the 21st of June 2021, it actually officially started, and it officially ended on the 25th of April 2022. How did they have to submit their project? So they had to use the BIM SPEED platform, to which they had access through the Kroku platform. They had to fill in a report where they described all their results. So the indicators that I just mentioned regarding energy savings and comfort. They had to describe how they managed to accomplish this, and how they, by using the BIM SPEED tools, and also other tools that are available, and how they combined it. Next to this, they also had to submit an IFC file with their BIM design model and a proposal for it. And as last but not least, of course, some visual materials and infographic of how the project looked like, that gave a better description. Who were the jury? The jury were a combination of people with an architect and engineering background. I think it was a good mix of people from the research, from the academia world, from the industry, and also from the real estate finance. So I think it was a good mix of opinions regarding this. And yeah, I want to thank the whole jury for their participation throughout the project, and specifically also Chiara Di Pasquale and Andras Ronay for their very active contributions on the competition. So yeah, really thank you to the jury. Regarding teams that's competed, so it was from across the world. In total, there were 8 registered teams that competed, from not just from Europe, from Africa and South America as well. It was so you could really see had a global scale to it. And yeah, the teams they made a strong effort to really use the BIM SPEED tools and demonstrate their results. And now then to the key part of the presentation and the award ceremony itself, who the winners are and who will receive this trophy and the other awards that we have lined up for them. Unfortunately, the winners could not join us in person, but they are here with us virtually, and if I'm not mistaken, they should be able to take the word soon. And the winners are Team BIM from ENSDP, so from the National and Advanced School of Public Works from Yaoundé, Cameroon. They had very good feedback from the jury. Really did a lot of effort to demonstrate the energy savings and comfort into a project that was provided to them by BIM SPEED. And congratulations, in particular to Idris and Charlene, who will be presenting. And if I'm not mistaken, we should have them online.
Thank you for giving us the floor. It's a great honor for us to participate in this conference and to be selected as the winners of this BIM for Building Renovation competition. I'm Charlene, the leader of the ENSTP team, and I'm accompanied with my teammate Idris. Please next. Next slide, please. Okay. Now who we are. The Team BIM ENSTP, having taken part to the BIM SPEED competition 2022, is a team made up of Idris Chao and Charlene de la Victoire Sobgum-Giogo from National Advanced School of Public Works of Yaoundé in Cameroon, in partnership with the University of Padova in Italy. Idris Chao is a civil engineer, graduated from National Advanced School of Public Works. He works at CPA, which operates for the digitalization of construction sector of French-speaking sub-Saharan Africa. Charlene de la Victoire Sobgum-Giogo, who I am, is a student in 5th year of architecture at National Advanced School of Public Works. In 2021, we were also members of the team that won the 2nd prize of the student BIM competition launched by BIM Harambee Africa. We are also members of the team who created in 2022 the non-profit association BIM Up Africa, in order to create awareness on BIM to students and professionals in French-speaking sub-Saharan Africa. Next, please. Okay, the project submitted to our study is located in France, in the municipality Massy, precisely at 15e Avenue de la République. The building is a basement R+10 for residential purpose. The objective of the study was to renovate the building while using the BIM Speed tools integrated to the collaborative platform Croquis. In order to achieve the objective set, we developed 3 federated BIM models for architectural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing using Revit software. The analysis of the initial state was performed by exporting the architectural model from Revit to Archivisa software, obtained from based on the meteorological information obtained from the Croquis platform. The initial analysis was made on the basis of the existing thermal regulation RT existant. Next slide, please. Okay. Looking at the initial state of the project, by visual observation of the numerical model submitted to our study, can notice the absence of a ventilation system and also the absence of a green roof and photovoltaic energy. By observing the result of the energy analysis from Archivisa software at initial state, we can notice the presence of thermal bridges, and also in some rooms there was not enough natural light. For example, the absence of natural light during the day in the staircase materialized by the color black, and the lack of natural light during the year in the staircases materialized by the color red. Now I'll give the floor to Idris for the next.
Thank you, Mrs. Chalen, for giving me the floor. In order to overcome the building deficiency, sustainable renovation strategies were applied in our project through different design principles. Looking at renewable energy design principles, we propose to use solar panels and presence detector. Also, concerning energy saving, we propose to use artificial light by compact fluorescent lamp. Also, in order to provide indoor air quality and visual comfort, we propose a double control flow ventilation system in order to ensure the renewal of air, and we also increase the size of some windows. Looking at thermal comfort and acoustic insulation, we propose to use an air conditioner system with double dot and mixing box, and also we provide a green roof with extensive vegetation. Regarding ergonomic design principle, we ensure a good access to staircase. Looking at time and cost saving, data was stored in the hierarchical and accessible way in the BIM Speed platform. This enabled us to save time. Also, the weather data was collected freely on the BIM Speed platform. This enabled us to save money. The image at bottom provides the solar panel and the aesthetic vegetation that we provide at the top of the roof. Also, the other image provides the mechanical model provided as deliverables. Please, next. Concerning the BIM Speed tool use, in our project, we use the BIM Speed tools, Mehi Weather Service, and the Fine Naming Convention Service. Looking at Mehi Weather Service, Mehi Weather Service was used to collect historical data from 1999 to 2021 in EPW format. The climate data collected was used in Greater Archivisa software to simulate daylight analysis and energy simulation. Concerning Fine Naming Convention was used to save time and rework by creating an automated workflow consisting on defining, managing, and applying a naming standard across project files to ensure standardization. In fact, let us consider at the bottom left the original architectural model provided to us, and by applying the naming rule displayed in the table on screen, we obtain the new name of the file, which is present at the bottom right of the screen. This new name gives us information about the discipline on the model, which is architecture, the phase where it is created, which is existing, the software used, which is Revit, and the version, which is 2020. Also, the mention non-valid in green at the end of the name ensure us that the naming convention rule was applied successfully. Please, next. Thank you to BIM Speed for giving us this opportunity. Thank you to our teacher for their constant support. Thank you for our classmates and also our colleagues for their presence here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Idriss and Charlene, for the great work and with this project. It's really something to be proud of. And thank you also to all the other participants for the hard work in the competition. I think we can be very happy with it. Now, I don't know if we have time for any questions to the participants or if we're running out of time. Do we still have time for questions, or are we?
Very little, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. We can. I think. Yeah. Maybe. But yeah, maybe move on to the next presentation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there will be a question.
Alors, pour la vidéo, on changera le...
Non, après. On switch.
Ok.
Since we are talking about BIM speed, I have to ask you to speed up a bit.
I will. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am Nicolas Pastorelli. I work at CSTB in France, and I go to present you the BIM speed platform because we were responsible of that in the project. And I will start with one of the main visions that we had, which was stated by Timo earlier, that we wanted to create a simple platform where different services can be integrated, because we wanted to break the kind of monopoly that exists in construction sectors where you have to take services from one of the main vendor, and then you are locked in using all the services from these vendors. So in our vision, we knew that we want to promote different vendor services, especially startups or other small companies which may have very, very good ideas. And we knew that we want to expose these services to the end users. And this is where we require this man in the middle, the platform, which is setting the relation between the users, the customers, and the vendors. And at the same time, we wanted the services to be loosely choreographed or coordinated with simple mechanisms so that it is easy to create added value services in the platform. So this is the vision of it. So we end up in this project with having some kind of renovation combo services, and the platform is some kind of mashup platform where we have core services and we are able to integrate different other flavors inside it depending on the project. So that being said, I have to say that we used one pre-existing platform in order to build the BIM Speed platform. So the BIM Speed platform is actually an extension of the Croquis platform, which is a French state platform, a platform which has been created by CSTB on the behalf of the French state. And the goal of the Croquis platform was already to bridge the digital divide for SMEs, because it was hard for them to build expensive tool, to have the trainings, and we wanted to create one tool which is very simple with core features, just collaboration, and plug different renovation services on the top of it. So let me describe briefly the core of the platform itself and how BIM Speed relates to that. At the core of the platform, we have some collaboration services, obviously, where we can manage the users, provide rights of access to the files, to the folders. We can perform some, we can exchange commands, we can have some validation processes on documents which are created. To give you an idea, we wanted to make things very simple. So it's kind of a mix of Google Doodle and Dropbox and this kind of services which the users are able to use, but hosted in Europe, because we wanted to be away from this threat of having our data abroad, right? And we wanted to extend it with some construction services. We even have a drive, right, which you can install on your PC in order to synchronize the files that you have in the cloud and the files that you have locally. So that being said, when we have the collaboration around documents, we have some other features as well, which are very important nowadays. The ability to chat live with other users, video conferencing integrated in platform, so you don't need to go to Teams or whatever other tools in order to collaborate. You can perform some tasks in the way that you could do with Trello, very agile task management, and you can set up shared agendas like you do with Doodle and synchronize that with your Outlook of whatever tool you are using. So on the top of these two main collaboration types of services, there were already pre-existing some croquis services like the naming convention we just heard about. CSTB is providing as well a tool which is named IFBIM. Actually, it's a BIM viewer which you can install on your machine to view BIM files. And this is where, on the top of that, this is where we extended the platform in order to bring some extra services, which were showing what kind of renovation services could be integrated inside the platform. So if we take a more precise view of what's happening, at the core, we have a platform, okay, the one we are talking about, with the blue part, which was a pre-existing services from Croquis, with a file management system, collaboration suite, and stuff like that. The store, which was there to integrate services. But with the BIM SPEED project, we did extend all these. For instance, we extend the store with this packaging option when we can create a set of services dedicated to renovation. We have created some features dedicated especially to the competition we just talked about in order to enroll users and share the files and things like that. And talking about automation, you can see the small, I don't know, oh, okay. You can see the small robot here. This is where we created some kind of internal workflow which makes it possible to trigger services as soon as we drop files in specific parts of the architecture and then make things easier for the end user because it's just file management, but it's triggering like magic things in the background. So very briefly, this is the platform, the core of the platform, and all these services are exposed through APIs. This is where we were able to integrate different types of services which are relevant for renovation. And this is where the project was very framed in a way that each step of a renovation has a set of services which was demonstrated. So the first one, of course, is when we do renovation project, we need to acquire data. And this is where we integrated a set of services like how to retrieve GIS data very easily, how to retrieve weather data, and I'm very happy to hear that the competition guys have used it. How do we retrieve information from my existing building? So how do I connect my IoT information and bring it back inside the platform in order to perform later simulations or things like that? How do I convert my cloud points that I did acquire with a robot or with whatever laser scan technology I have? How do I convert that to BIM so that it's integrated inside the platform? And even tools from Demo, where we can question the inhabitants in order to bring initial understanding about what is the situation. At that point, it's very interesting to know that most of the time, as soon as we integrate one service, one partner, it's like integrating all the ecosystem. And this is the case with Demo, which have a lot of services which are integrated in the platform. So the next step is about planning the BIM for my project, and we have several services in this category. We have some kind of we have a BIM library where users are able to retrieve BIM formats of existing. it's for abroad?
Yeah, they just want to see your video. Your video is off.
Oversharing is off, maybe. Is it?
No, your camera is still off, but it's okay. Just continue.
Yeah, sorry. After we acquire data, we need to prepare the BIM to be sure that we are mature and we can prepare the BIM. So we need to retrieve BIM compatible objects from BIM libraries, which has been created in project. We can evaluate the BIM maturity of our company, right? So we have some tools to do that. And we are also BIM Passport, which is able to create BIM situation and maintain the BIM situation of your building along the renovation process. Then we had a set of tools, once again, demonstration tools, which are showing how to calibrate the information in order to perform renovation. So we have some of them. And this is where we are integrating also all the tools from SIPE, which is a Spanish software vendors. We have a lot of tools related to construction. And so it's used to empower the model and make it more ready for simulation. And then next step, really about innovation. And in that category, we are using, of course, all the SIPE and SIPE term services from SIPE, but we have an acoustic tool also to simulate acoustic renovation, lighting comfort renovation. We have something to do that as well for economical simulations. And we have a centralized dashboard, which is created as well, because every services can drop some KPIs inside the platform. The platform actually is digesting it and exposing that through a platform which is created by MetaBuild. And finally, the users have to find the right renovation option, and they have tools for that. So we have security area decision tool, which is made available in the platform. We also have BIM-based lifecycle assessment tool, which is integrated in the platform by Demo. We have a BIM execution plan, which is provided to help people to perform the renovation process. And we even have some virtual reality tools, which makes it possible for users to go on site and visualize what could be happening and what are the options to make decisions. So as Timo said, this is a very pretty explanatory schema, because we see that we have a platform in the middle, and we were able to demonstrate that we did integrate all set of services. Some of them are cloud services, some of them are just documents, which we provide to the end users. They can use it inside the platform because there are some Excel macros providing some insights, for instance. And some of them are desktop applications, and they can be through APIs, they can be integrated as well in very easy way. So this is where, if we can, no, we don't have. Sorry, I think okay.
Hi to everyone. I'm Sonia Alvarez. I'm part of the Cartif Technology Center, and I'm going to present you an innovative BIM tool for building renovation, the 3D tool. A little content of the presentation, a little overview, the 3D process, a demonstration case in a demo site of the BIM SPEED project, some results and some conclusions of the use of this tool, and some relevant publications. I want to mention before that the BIM SPEED project, one of the objectives of the project was to trying to standardize procedures for as-built data acquisition, and it's in this part that where the 3D tool is working. This tool allows the automatic generation of walls in BIM using point clouds as input to facilitate the creation of the as-built BIM models of the buildings with a low level of development, more or less below the 200. And this is the process for scan to BIM. It's integrated as a plugin in the Revit software to simplify the own process and to avoid the minor use of the different softwares, in contrast to other existing examples where different tools have to be used. And the 3D tool does not require the manual selection of the point clouds. You don't have to select the point clouds to generate a plane or something like that. These are the 5 BIM speed renovation phases. The last is a mistake because it's not the execution renovation course again, it's the occupancy and maintenance. And this tool is working the first phase of the renovation, existing building data collection. In this image, you can see that the input of the tool is some kind of 3D point cloud formats, and the output of the tool is the Revit file and the IFC file if you want to generate this format. And here the process of the connect with the BIM Speed platform. You can see the connection with the platform with a BIM connector. In this case, the BIM connector is a web service. It's a simple connector because this tool, the user only have to download the tool because it's a plugin. The user has to have access to the BIM Speed platform and download the plugin to install in the Revit software. And there are 4 main steps. The first one is to obtain the 3D point clouds. The user needs to obtain the point clouds and upload to the BIM Speed platform. The second step is to launch the 3D tool service from the BIM Speed platform and selecting one of the format requirement by the tool. And the third step is to download and install the 3D tool in Revit. You can see here that is the web service application, but where the user needs to agree with our requirement and accept and download the plugin to install in the computer. And the last step is to the automatic generation of walls using the tool inside the Revit. I'm going to show you a demonstration in the workshop demo site in Poland. But this tool was tested in another demo site of the BIM Speed project in the Vitoria demo. Okay. So about the workshop demo site, as I mentioned, the main goal of the project was to renovate and adapt an underground passage. And the documentation of the existing space was out of date and only available in paper form. It was also a pilot project for the city of Warsaw to test open BIM standards. And you can see here in the image that in the left side, before the preprocessing of the point cloud, in the right side, after the preprocessing. You can see a red line. It is that because we have decided only to do this demonstration in the left part of that line. So here are some steps of the tool. The user needs to start the tool in the Revit software. And the first step is to load and analyze the point clouds. You can see here the first step of the tool. And you have to select the point cloud and the 3D tool is start to working. And the second step is the pre-processing. You can see here the point cloud. Depends on the parameters that the user decide, that point clouds are selected more separate or something like that. So the user can modify the dimensions or the final results of the tool. Depends on the parameters. The next step is the segmentation process, where the planes are generated. You can see in the image. And later is the analysis for the side. Is the analysis for the side where are the planes and the source. So the last step is the parameterization. In this step, the user needs to decide, first to generate the walls, the user needs to decide what type of wall is going to be created. All the walls have the same properties in this case. So in this case, it are 88 walls generated by the tool. So here are some results about this demo and the use of the 3D tool and compare it with the traditional way. So for the generation of the traditional way, the creation of the model from the pre-processed point cloud took 2 hours and 10 minutes, and 36 walls and 12 columns were modeled. Using the 3D tool as a final result of the application, in this demo, 88 walls have been generated automatically in more or less 2 minutes. So here you can see the difference is more or less the same. The columns are different because the 3D does detect only the planes for the walls, but you can learn later that planes for to generate the columns. So it's only 2 minutes to generate these results, but later the user needs a manual process to check that the walls are correct and to modify some things in the model. So as a consideration, the use of the 3D tool, using this tool can reduce time because the generation models and for comparison with previous system models of the building. And you can improve the accuracy of the result because it's a mathematical process based on numberings for the detection and generation of walls from point clouds as input automatically. And compare the traditional way that the user needs to generate the walls manually using the point clouds as a template. And this is all manual selection of the points. So here's some publication about the use of this tool. The first one was presented in a congress, and it's like a comparison of the scientific approach compared the traditional one with the use of the 3D tool. Another publication is in the use case for building smart, that later Sharon and my colleagues are going to talk about the use case for publishing the building smart. So thank you for your attention. If you have some questions about the tool, you can ask us. If you want to check the tool, you can contact us and we can provide you a link to download a demo version of this tool. So that's all for myself.
As mentioned before, but we are still behind schedule, so could you jump in and then if there's still ends in the time, then we can invite remotely Serena, but I would like to continue that right here.
It's the next one. It's the next one. Yeah, is this one? No, the next one. Oh, sorry. 6 is this one? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's 6 minutes left for each.
Okay, sure. I got it. All right, so I will start with our use case documentation initiative at BIM Speed. So just a quick overview. As we all know by now, the BIM Speed project has developed several tools and methodologies for efficient renovation practice. And as a standardization initiative, our coordinator, Professor Timo, had come up with this initiative to document some BIM Speed use cases on building smart use case management system. And with this, we try to capture these tools and methodologies implementation, but within information delivery manual standards and requirements. Based on this, we have predefined sections of a use case document based on IDM standards, which has 3 sections in general, a very general use case definition section, process definition, and exchange requirements. But what we've done is also, with the initiative of Professor Timo, of course, at TU Berlin, we tailored this definition to also contain BIM Speed objectives validation and also demonstration of use cases on project sites. So with this, we also provide users an example of implementation of these use cases, which makes it more easily accessible to all users in the built industry. Saying this, we have 4 sections of a standard use case, which is the first one, as I said, of course, is a very general use case definition. And then we have the overall process, which is based on a business process modeling process map, which is segregated across life cycle stages of a project, but also it specifies actors and exchange requirements required for the implementation of a use case. And then we demonstrate this process through one of our projects within the BIM SPEED project as well. And we try to validate the objectives that we have, both on the level of a use case, but also at the level of the BIM SPEED project. And in the end, we also focus on file and data format exchanges within all the processes within this particular use case. And in the end, of course, users can access these use cases on the Building Smart Use Case Management portal by simply creating a login and having a first look at the use case description. And in the end, of course, if you want to download the entire document, you can do so. And we at BIM SPEED try to identify some uses of these BIM SPEED use cases. And this could be to use them for your existing projects to enhance or adjust the predefined standardized use cases for maybe BIM execution plans or so on, but also to use this as a collection for future projects and to implement some of the tools that we've already identified within the BIM SPEED project, so to use this as trainings materials as well. So now Jessica will give you a detail into how we documented model checks use case. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Now that you get this overview on the Building Smart Use Case Management, I want to show you how we did really the description coming from BIM SPEED results. So my example is an output of work package 5, which was about standardization. And in this regard, I took the deliverable 5.3 regarding checks of design coordination. So this deliverable provides really a huge overview on model checks, what they are, what types of model checks are existing. There are definitions of the procedure, how to define model checks, user guides, how to do it, how to use the software and tools, and templates for the user to be provided to define these model check rules. So this is really that's much information for the user, and we took this information and defined out only of this deliverable 3 use cases in the Building Smart Use Case Management System. 2 about the geometrical checks, and 1 is about the semantical and numerical checks to have compliance testing and design coordination. And this is where I want to step in. So the use case we described in the first section provides the objective of the use case, which in our case is for sure to assure that the information that is within the model is correct and in the right range of required information or a wide range of values. So the scope is to provide reliability on this data, which is inside the 3D model. And by the end, so there are use cases which also are relevant for disciplines, but the model check use case is not relevant for any discipline. It can be done for each discipline. So by the end, we have a full description of this use case, how to perform it, and what the result will be. And as you can see here, there's always a small fact sheet as overview, so that you are aware if this use case may be relevant for your project or not. Now we come to the mentioned validation of Sharon. So with this slide, I will show you how we really try to reach one of the BIM SPEED objectives. One was to reduce the time of time reduction, or to provide time reduction of 30% for a renovation project. And as you can see in this process map, on the top there is a conventional way of performing model check, and on the bottom is a new BIM SPEED approach of automated model checks. And now highlighted in pink, you can see the really manual steps on the conventional way, which due to my experience, took over 5 to 7 days of working days. It's about creating lists, generating lists, and comparing the manual. Now all this is put together into one automatic step, and maybe will take only 2 days or something like this. So that's even a really great improvement and time reduction. And additionally, once you create these model check rules, you can export them as XML file and provide them for following projects or following tasks. So that's an additional time reduction. And then we took this use case and brought it, as mentioned, to a demo site project. In this case, we had the Spanish demo site project. So there are regional and national design rules that have to be regarded, and these design rules are the basis to define the model check rules. And you can see on the left the normal 3D model. Then I created a model check that will check if a special attribute is existing within the model and if the value is in the correct range. So there have been, in blue here, several elements that have been ignored for this check rule because they are not relevant for this check rule. And we found out that there are 9 elements that had either not the parameter within the model information or a wrong value of information. But luckily, the green is really are the elements that are fine, and that's a good result for this check rule, in my opinion. So last slide for the use case description is a look on the exchange requirements. As mentioned before, we focus here on the file exchange formats and not break it down to each model element and each parameter. So as input, there is needed the standards that are existing in the special country, documents like BEP, MIDP, and even modeling guidelines, and all this form the base to define the model check rules. Of course, we need an IFC file that will be checked due to this open BIM approach that we are following. It's only relevant for IFC file. And the output later on will be, if it is needed, a report as PDF file or Excel format, but mainly there will be BCF files that directly can be imported to the common data environment and directly can be given to the BIM author so that he is able to update the model and to correct it. By the end, we will have a checked 3D model that is compliant to the requirements and then can be processed and overhands to the following process step in the complete design coordination process. So I'm coming to the end, and I will give you a short overview on the BIM Speed use cases that are already published and will be published. So we have 14 use cases that are already published and available on the UCM. We have 12 more work in progress in draft, and we are planning to publish them by the end of the project. So in total, we will have 26 use cases published on the UCM. And here's an overview of all the use cases of BIM Speed across all life cycle stages of a project. And yeah, if you have any questions, shortly, 1 minute, no questions, yes, maybe later on. But then I thank you and I give over to Justin, I think.
Thank you very much. We're supposed to finish in 7 minutes, but that's impossible, so I suggest to extend it a bit.
This one yours?
Suffering their break afterwards, and maybe the next session can start 5 minutes later, Timo. So I've been told that the next session which was? Yeah, it's convinced the others, but we have 15 minutes break. Yeah, but you already are using it. Oh, we are. Anyway, I won't keep you up.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Gerson from TU Berlin, so I will go very quickly to try to catch up. So sorry if I go very fast through some of them. the slides. So the idea today was to present to you some of the results regarding the ontologies. So I will talk to you about why or what was the motivation. As Timo mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have different characteristics of challenges in renovation projects, and we have like a lot of heterogeneity from the building stock and so on. The presence of occupants during the renovations also kind of changed the way the conventional construction activities are performed. And all of these bring different challenges that we think that if we are able to map the knowledge from the different experts and the different stakeholders regarding these different tasks and this domain, we can support or we can enhance the way the workflows are performed in renovation projects. So for that, we were talking about knowledge representations. For those that are not familiarized with the idea, is basically a set of symbols and text that describe information from a domain to help users to understand better that domain. If we think about ontologies, then we should talk about the concepts, about relations, and the relationships between those concepts. And basically the idea is that this model will provide also a common vocabulary for users and will help create a shared understanding of the domain that we are studying. So having a knowledge representation, having a model for a specific domain will help to improve the consistency and reduce the lack of ambiguity. Will help the interoperability, the reuse of knowledge, and the sharing of that knowledge. So going back to the challenge that we mentioned before, like all these advantages of having a knowledge representation will help to tackle some of the challenges or the barriers we mentioned before. So in the project, what we did was to focus. As Timo mentioned at the beginning, we tried to focus in the idea of the conceptual model and map the knowledge of the domain. And we have these three levels, let's say, of the knowledge representation. We focus in the first two. The last one is having a technical solution. We didn't go that further. But we follow this methodology to develop different models within the BIM SPEED project. More or less that was the same for all of the models. We really focus in including the experts. So during the development of the models, we have different workshops with experts. We have semi-structured interviews to try to capture their knowledge, to try to understand what were the requirements of each of the tasks that we were exploring. And then we ended up with 4 models. There is another one that is being developed right now, but I will just talk about these 4. And yeah, so we have, thinking about the renovation, like the planning and execution of the construction activities, we develop a model about mapping the knowledge for the installation of renovation products. So we talk to different experts and try to come up with, to understand what were the particularities that were, or the challenges that they were facing in this task, and model that knowledge in an ontological representation. We also develop other models related to LCA and LCC analysis of renovation projects. Thinking about the development of BIM models, we created a model to support the BIM to BIM process. During this kind of workflows, there is a lot of information that is lost or that have to be re-entered in different stages in the BIM model. So we map that information aiming to support or to facilitate the process. And another, one of my colleagues also developed a GIS-based ontology to represent the surrounding information around the building, and to be able to, or to identify the requirements to specific use cases for renovation, what is important about the surrounding information. So I will give you a very quickly overview of one of the models, the one related to the installation of renovation products. So the purpose was to map the requirements and constraints of the installation of renovation products, to support the planning and execution of the activities. The scope, we focus in 3 renovation products, the windows, etiquette panels, and radiators, but the structure of the model is designed to be able to integrate other elements. We focus in the physical features of the building and the products, but also the activities required to install those products and the constraints. That will be an important concept that I will talk to you about later. And yeah, the end users are project managers, site directors, and other stakeholders. And the intended use is to facilitate the collection and the management and retrieval of key information to support the planning and the execution of the renovation activities. This is an overview of the model. One of the more important concepts that I would like to highlight is the constraints of. We talked to experts, and they mentioned different restrictions during renovation projects, like the limitations of the space, the presence of occupants, so the activities have to be performed differently. So we map those constraints, and we included them in the model. So this is almost my last slide. So here I will show you that the users can retrieve information related to the building, to the stakeholders, or to the products. They can collect and retrieve information regarding the installation activities for a certain product, the requirements for the workforce and tools. They can also retrieve information about the coordination between different products and information related to the constraints. A quick example, for instance, when you're going to install the new insulation of the facade, you will have, in some cases, you need to remove the existing pipelines. So you need to interrupt the supply of certain services. So you need to communicate that to the stakeholders 2 days in advance, and that information is available in the model. So this is my last slide. To make it short, more details can be found in the deliverable that is available in the website of the project. And yeah, so with that, I think I will just give the floor to Agnieszka, that will talk to you about the demonstration projects.
Thank you very much.
I will use maybe already the time. So my name is Agnieszka Lukaszewska. I'm from Poland, from Fasada. We are SME doing building renovation and also supporting the digitalization of construction. And on the other side, I coordinate demonstration works in BIM SPEED project. I will tell you a few words about what demonstration projects we have. I will try to explain briefly how we have implemented BIM tools on some selected demonstration sites. I will also mention how the virtual reality technology can help to perform health and safety trainings, and a few words about the BIM passport that we have developed. So within our project, we have 14 demonstration projects, so quite many buildings. And they are located in 8 European countries, and most of them are residential buildings. Our first pilots were 2 apartment blocks located in Vitoria in Spain, And here we have used one tool which already was introduced by my colleague Sonia from Cardiff, so 3D Dash tool that helps in an efficient way to speed up the scan-to-BIM process. And I will tell you from our perspective, practical perspective, why this tool can be very useful for the construction company, because very often we are doing the quantity takeoff. This is the activity that engineers perform really a lot on construction sites. So in this way, we can create a model of the building and make this quantity takeoff a little bit more automatic and without many hours of calculations. Another tool that we have tested was the back-to-BIM tool. So we have an access to all the data gathered from the building, as for instance humidity or temperature, and we can have access to them with BIM Speed platform. Also on this demo site, we have used visualization tools with augmented reality. So for instance, if the building is after renovation, we can see how the envelope looked like before the renovation. And also we can see the thermal performance of the building with our mobile phone. Next demonstration building is a residential building located in Marko Tarnovo in Bulgaria. And here also we have tested AR and virtual reality tools. On the left, we can see how the building not yet renovated with the help of our phone will look like after the renovation. And also we can have a virtual walk through the building after the renovation. So this tool can be very useful for the investor to select the best and the most optimum renovation scenario, and also to see how the building look like in reality after the renovation. Another demonstration site on which we have tested many tools is a residential building in Warmond in the Netherlands. And here also we have performed 3D scanning. What is very interesting is that we did also the acoustic comfort evaluation. So one of our partner, Unif PM, have checked the building and point the elements in the building in which the acoustic insulation is the lowest. So really attention needs to be paid on those elements during the renovation. Also in the building were installed Comfortize tools also developed by one of our partners. And this tool helps us to gather information in indoor air quality. And so later, this can be also very useful information for the preparation of the renovation and selection of the best renovation scenario. Here, another building that is, or demo sites that is very interesting. It's a care point for homeless people in Warsaw, in Poland. It's not a typical residential building, but it's an underground passage. And here we decided to support the investor, so the city of Warsaw, so they can better prepare for the construction works. We did for him the 4D analysis on the construction site works planning, and also the clash detection, and really many clashes were noticed. So in general, the idea for this demo site was to help to prepare the investor for the fast and efficient construction works. Now a few words about another development of our project. I think also very interesting for the practical point of view is here we have analyzed how the virtual reality technology can help to organize and perform health and safety trainings on the construction site. As you know, this part is like very important and it's a compulsory part of during the construction work on every construction site. So with the help of the VR tools, the white collar worker or the blue collar worker can be moved to the virtual reality, and believe me, in that way, much more better, every worker memorize how he or she should behave in a hazard situation. I really believe that such a solution soon will be our everyday solution in order to improve the health and safety and also minimize the risk and the accidents, yes, that happen on the construction sites. And our last development is that I will talk is a BIM passport. So it's a digital document for building in which we can assess the quality of the available building data. So to structurize the information that we have, for instance, to assess the quality of the cloud point or drawings or BIM model or other data from the monitoring, and how we can use that data for further analysis that helps us in a better way to plan the renovation scenario. So thank you very much. I think I squeezed a little bit of my presentation. If you have any questions, we can talk during the break.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Agnieszka, and also all the other presenters. I think the beauty of this kind of convention is that we're all together, not only for now, but for the coming days. So if you're inspired or triggered or want to know something else, please contact us. We will be around. Also online, we have a community of practice. So there's much more information available on the website. But I think that now everybody's dying for a coffee. So thank you both Sophie and Cecile for the assisting. It was not easy, but you made it work. So thanks a lot, and talk to you later. Sorry, I forgot one very important thing. I think that we should have one more applause for our guests, the winners of the competition.